Time to take a trip around the bases after we learned yesterday the Mets will hire David Stearns as president of baseball operations. He was hired as the Brewers general manager back in 2015. And under Stearns, Milwaukee made the playoffs in 4 straight years for the first time in franchise history. As we welcome you back inside and say good morning to our +1, Alex Avila.
Morning,
Love
Alex.
having you here. Number 1, Alex, what do you think of the fit? And number 2, what would be your first order of business when you get to New York? It's a lot. There's a lot.
I think the fit is good. Obviously, it's been talked about for the last couple of years.
Time, right?
Kind of like the worst kept secret in baseball.
So true.
That Cohen has kind of, earmarked Stearns as his president. New York guy, Mets fan, grew up a Mets fan. So, I mean, when you look at it, it looks like a great fit. Obviously, he oversaw like the best run in Brewers franchise history. Being able to do what he was able to, put together a good, deep roster each one of those years to have. A playoff contending team is really tough to do with the kind of budget he had. And now he's going to the Mets with that kind of mindset, but then an open checkbook really to kind of do what he needs to do.
And I thought he made interesting free agent signs in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like the Lorenzo Cain pop came out of kind of nowhere, and he played really well for them.
Christian Yelich trade.
Christian Yelich trade. Certainly, he can identify talent and go get it. Listen. Like he said, they've been talking about this for a while. Hometown kid. My biggest thing is, what's your first order of business? Does Buck stay?
That's the big one.
Because Craig Counsell, they're talking. This is the last year of his deal. He's just kind of hanging out in the
free agent,
right?
And they stopped negotiating.
And he's one of the best managers in the game. We've seen it time and time again.
Pete Alonso.
What's the move with Pete Alonso?
What is it?
The move with Pete Alonso is, first off, I want to know where his camp is monetarily. Like, there's rumors that he's talking about wanting Judge money. Well, if he's there, then, how does that hamstring you going forward? Regardless of what Stevie Cohen's checkbook looks like, at some point, you have to identify how you can allocate resources in a different way. Also, what can you get back? You got to get back. If you trade a guy who's going 40 and 100 and kind of putting fannies in the seats, you got to get back multiple, like what the Nationals did with Juan Soto. Like, you got to get back a C.J. Abrams, a guy, a Mackenzie Gore. I don't know if you can bring all that back on a Pete Alonso.
You won't have the control on Pete as
exactly.
As the Padres have with Soto.
You got 1 year left, but you can see Pete going to other teams and being an absolute monster.
Meantime, former Met Max Scherzer forced to leave his start yesterday prematurely against the Toronto Blue Jays, a game that the Rangers ended up winning. They are playing much better. They're right in the hunt in the wild card and the division. This is what Max Scherzer had to say about leaving his start yesterday and what he was feeling like physically. Check this out.
I've had a cramping sensation before like that, and you kind of work it out, and then all of a sudden you can kind of go. But when I kind of got onto the mound and was trying to go through my motion, I could just tell it didn't release. Yeah, well, the past couple games I've been feeling on my forearm. My forearm's been tight. It's probably related because it's the kinetic chain. Nobody thought there was a strain. I mean, it's September. You're 20-something plus starts into the season. Yeah, you're going to feel some stuff in September. It's just that this is a little bit more than usual.
Robert.
Alex, Max Scherzer very well.
John, it's the kinetic chain.
Kinetic chain.
Alex, I don't have to tell you the importance of the kinetic chain.
The kinetic chain.
What do you make of what Max had to say afterwards and level of concern moving forward?
I'm a little concerned for sure. Max is probably the one guy that I played with that knew his body the best. He understood when. What he could pitch with as far as what pain and soreness he could pitch with and what he can't. And he's kind of shown that through his career. He knows, what he can handle and how effective he can be when he's not at his best. So when he's got to come out like that, there's definitely got to be a little concern there for the Rangers.
I always go off the body language of the interview. And he doesn't seem...
He seemed loose.
He does not seem too concerned with it. You kind of know. Alex, you know him better.
Having been around him as much as I have,
that's
to
how
me,
he plays it?
Yes, but to me, he looked a little more concerned than usual.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he's it's part of the kinetic chain, it's tricep, it's forearm.
He knows how to take care of it. That's the thing. He knows what he's going to have to do to get better. But to me, it looked like he was probably a little more concerned than in the past.
Listen, you got to have Max Scherzer. That goes without saying. But this rotation is certainly deep enough and strong enough to carry them
Assuming
into the
Nate Eovaldi can come back
Absolutely,
and round into form.
It's Jordan Montgomery tonight, and they've lost his
I think
last
it's
4 starts.
Eovaldi
That
next night.
front office has always prioritized pitching. What about Milwaukee? Because what we're seeing, 200 strikeouts for Freddie Peralta after 9 last night. This 1-2-3 punch, it's the best thing. I mean, there's nobody that has this. Add in the bullpen, 23 1/3 innings for Peralta, Woodruff, and Burns. They've allowed 1 run. This is domination.
Domination. What I love about them is the 3 of them all do it a little bit differently, right? Burns is your sinker, cutter, kind of just sharp, nasty stuff exploding east-west. Woodruff's your over-the-top power 4-seamer. Freddie's kind of stepping towards the third base side, kind of cross-firing a little bit with elite extension. Like he's one of those guys, when we get into it, he's like out,
And
way
a Bugs
out.
Bunny changeup.
So, yes, the 3 of them, if you're a National League team, they just got to score 3 to 4 runs a night. Figure out a way to get 3 to 4 runs a night, and they can beat anybody in the postseason. Yeah.
And it's different in October.
The look on Freddie's fastball and then changeup combination, like facing him, like you said, the fastball like plays up big time because of that extension. But his changeup, he's got one of those changeup that looks like it stops in midair. Like when you're up there and you see it, but then you think, okay, I'm ready to swing, and it never gets there. And then before you know it, you swing 2 or 3 times. That's why I call it the Bugs Bunny J. It's like that cartoon where it's like you swing 2 or 3 times before the ball even gets there.
Are you trading Pete Alonso, Lauren?
Oh my gosh. Go to commercial. What do you think, Robert? I don't know what the comp is. That's my question.
They're going to have to pay me $10 million a
Well,
year.
you got to look.
What's
You
the
got to
comp?
look at Matt Olson's deal. You got to look at Freddie Freeman's deal.
it
I
same
get it.
player?
It's all in. Are they the same player? In my opinion, they're not. But at the offensive profile, not many people are doing what Pete's done in the
Easy,
game.
and he makes it look easy. It's every year.
Sorry.
You're right.